House where I was popping this D about to react to this video by Honest. It's titled The Death of the Disney Channel Popstar. Okay, he has a lot of people in the thumbnail. We got Arianka and some others. I honestly think we are also experiencing the death of the pop star in general, though, or the death of the mega star. Like, I don't feel like we're gonna get another Beyonce or Rihanna or Arianka, Taylor Swift. I feel like those days are over. We're gonna get, popular artists for sure, but they're not gonna be like mega stars like them anymore. So yeah, I feel like he'll cover why. Let's watch. I'm sure he can articulate better than I can.
Unfortunately for sentimental reasons, and in many cases, fortunately for ethical reasons, practically extinct present day.
Oh, he gonna talk about that whole
unpredictability
situation.
of social media and living in a world that values content over the machine, it makes using a launching pad such as Disney Channel obsolete in today's society, and even unfavorable for many young artists who want to freely express themselves with more rigid and honest topics. A current-day Olivia Rodrigo and Billie Eilish with their potty-mouth snarls and unabashed satirical topics would not be able to be the artists they are under Disney Channel constraints. Even in a Disney Channel dominant era, younger artists who were more brash, such as Avril Lavigne, had a very notable gloss sheen over their image and music. Not exactly being afforded the creative risks of someone like Billie Eilish, for example. There were a plethora of Disney Channel pop stars who missed the Disney machine at their prime, just before the internet became the absolute dominant figure in the music career path for young people. Acts such as Sabrina Carpenter, Zendaya, Olivia Holt, and Bella Thorne saw their pop careers meander, stall, and eventually burn out altogether before they effectively established themselves as music artists. Sabrina Carpenter and Zendaya have gone on to make noticeable career moves post-Disney, but their pop careers never got to match the success of true golden Disney pop stars like Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, the Jonas Brothers, and Demi Lovato, who all became some of the world's most popular artists under the
Arianka was
Disney.
Not Disney. She was Nickelodeon.
One thing you would not hear a golden Disney pop star be scared to admit is the overall lack of control they had over their image and music, which is not uncommon for most young stars. However, being under a brand that prioritizes and exclusively focuses on family-friendly content, I imagine it would be a bit harsher than your everyday label, especially taking into account that most of these artists had shows to
the Jonas Brothers came from Disney?
And boost album sales.
Wait, who is that? Harry?
For example, had her music career built up for her off the back of the show Hannah Montana, which focused on a young teen who lives a double life as a global superstar, which in many ways would become a real-life premise for Miley, as well as predict her future as a pop chameleon. But her earlier work was heavily restrained. Even her debut album, 2007's Hannah Montana 2,
I always ask these questions, but I never look it up to get an answer.
Which was a smart marketing
so I just remain
unsure. Take off. However, at that point, her career was still largely bound to the Hannah Montana character, and there wasn't a clear distinction between the worlds and their creative differences. But Miley, being the force that she is, would inevitably outsize the Hannah Montana brand, which is a feat that not many of her peers or predecessors have had the honor of doing with their leading shows, like Hilary Duff, for example. While it can be simply said that Miley has the X factor, her road to creative freedom was not easy, notably cracking the glass ceiling of her Disney image with 2010's Can't Be Tamed, and smashing it all together with her follow-up record, Bangers. But even when Miley was shaking things up with Can't Be Tamed, she didn't exactly seem pleased with the music at the time of its release, claiming that her newer material doesn't truly inspire her. And she worried that she would be blending in with everyone else, and expressed her desire to take a hiatus after the album so she could focus on music that she really liked. During the lead up to Bangers, she stated that she felt disconnected from Can't Be Tamed. This isn't unique to Miley. Selena Gomez famously discounts her entire recording career under Hollywood Records, referring to her album Revival as her true debut album, and her following album Rare as SG2, aka Selena Gomez's second album.
I'm very curious.
Even though she officially went solo in 2013 with her album Star Stands, and prior to that had 3 albums with her group, Selena Gomez and the Scene. She even trashed her hit song Come Get It, and said it sounded like a Rihanna reject, and it in fact was. Demi Lovato, on the other hand, sought to reimagine many of her Disney-era hits with rockier arrangements in order to align with her heavier image on 2023's Revamped. The Jonas Brothers have notoriously always been songwriters and producers, even producing and writing for many of their fellow Disney peers. But it wasn't until much later that they got to dip their foot into adult pop. Hilary Duff, a trailblazer for Disney, arrived at the right exact moment with 2003's Metamorphosis.
I know that's one that's really popular.
Set the standard for the Disney singer model, but what followed was a wildly inconsistent recording career with perplexing output. But she finally took the reins over her music career in 2008 with Dignity, co-writing every song and setting the stage for a moodier, darker pop sound. Not many, if any, Disney pop stars had a smooth transition into adult topics in their music. The image that was made for them most times wouldn't allow it, only setting them up for drastic and oft-shocking transformations. The Disney Channel model was very reminiscent of Cheiron Studios, that had a monopoly over teen pop in the 90s. The creative team behind acts like Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and Westlife. Cheiron would often have songs ready to go, entirely written and produced, with session singers. So all their artists had to do was record vocals and go. Martin and his team worked more like a band that alternated singers, and it was the creative process behind albums like Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again, a method often reflected in a lot of the creative process for music in the golden age of Disney. I think we now live in an age where we can see the various amounts of interesting stuff teens can make if they are given their autonomy. But every case is unique. Historically, many young stars have sidestepped generic tween pop and came out as winners, such as Fiona Apple, for example.
I've heard that.
But ultimately, that isn't the path for everyone, and some young stars need guidance. I'd even go as far to say that some stars had better music, in a more focused, if albeit sometimes stale image than they do as adult stars with full creative control. For example, I like Selena Gomez in The Scene, early Demi Lovato, or even early Avril Lavigne songs. Although she's not a Disney Channel alumni, she lives within the same world, just a little edgier. Better than anything any of them have released as full-fledged adults with creative control. It might be manufactured, but it does manufactured well. That's not to say these artists don't deserve creative control, because every artist deserves that right. But I think it shows that being manufactured isn't always inherently the worst thing for an artist, especially when they are starting out. But it doesn't always make way for a smooth transition.
Oh, the good.
Being a star on Disney Channel tends to set you up for a lifetime. To some degree, the stars who made it big on Disney will always have a built-in fan base, whether they grow with the entertainer or blindly support them out of nostalgia. They've made an imprint on fans' lives during the most pivotal moments of the human experience, childhood and teenhood. Many stars from the network have sold millions of records and experienced a whirlwind of success before they can even drive. They tend to become multimedia personalities as well, making it a little easier for Disney alumni to segue into different career paths. With all the success comes a lot of hard work, and while these stars are busy making an imprint on young people's lives around the globe, unfortunately, they're being robbed of their own life and experiences in the process, never being able to experience a sense of normalcy, which often manifests into other ways as these stars get older, whether that be breakdowns, reclusiveness, or wild behavior, to showcase that they aren't and perhaps never were the images that were created for them. Recently, Miley's insane work schedule from that time period has been making rounds online. Beginning when she was around 12 years old, her work days would extend for up to 13 hours at a time, encompassing her entire day. From filming the Hannah Montana show to doing various interviews, going to the studio, amongst other things such as photo shoots. Take into account that Miley would eventually do tours while filming the show and releasing albums. Full entire work days. This is the sad reality for a lot of younger stars during that time period. Before internet, that type of work was often needed to achieve that level of visibility and success. And even if that wasn't the case at a certain point, you still have a brand to uphold and likely contractual obligations. And I think this type of transparency is needed, verbatim work schedules and all that entails, because the public rarely gets to see this side of things. With the rise of the internet, the level of media interference and constant press runs is not as omnipresent. All things considered, it's remarkable that someone like Raven-Symoné, who has practically been working since she came out of the womb, before she even became a Disney darling, is still working to this day.
Yeah, that's
She briefly retired, but she is one of Disney's most coveted legends.
Word.
Even returning to the network to do production and acting on her spinoff, Raven's Home, in 2017.
That's what's so crazy, because if anybody know the tea on Disney, it's fucking Raven. For that reason. So it's like, girls, speak up eventually, please. But she can't, because it's a conflict of interest. She will be ruining her bag, and she's too intertwined with Disney, so maybe we won't ever get that.
She had a very loaded work life and had her hands in many projects, from her solo music career to the Cheetah Girls, which became an extremely popular series and helped the group sell millions of albums, and of course the iconic That's So Raven show. And that doesn't even account for the movies and shows she did for the network, such as College Road Trip, Kim Possible, the Tinkerbell franchise, as well as the entire Xenon series, just to name a few. She has been a constant mainstay
I'm not saying she was
and as beneficial as anybody, her career, it obviously came with some pressure. Her being a young star is one of the main reasons she did not initially think to come out as gay. I never thought I would come out because my personal life didn't matter, she said. It was only supposed to be sold as, you know, a Raven-Symoné record.
True.
Disney Channel has given us a lot of nostalgic, simple, clean bops to look fondly upon, and given us some charismatic and talented stars, and some whose greatest moments truly come from their time on Disney Channel, and others who outsized Disney and became formidable forces on their own chameleonic drive. Disney Channel, at the very least, still has the power to give a platform to a rising star nowadays, as we have seen with people like Sabrina Carpenter and Olivia Rodrigo, who got their starts on Disney, but their biggest successes in their recording career is completely detached from Disney and the Disney brand. Maybe there will come a day where the Disney Channel model is revamped to fit modern times, because youthful and PG entertainment is something that is important for young people to consume. But with the way that times have changed, it seems unlikely that this form of Disney Channel Popstar, with the selling power of someone like Miley Cyrus, and longevity of someone like Raven-Symoné, and visibility of someone like Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, etc., will ever be replicated again by the network.
Oh, I keep saying Disney, but I feel like the scandals that I'm referring to came from Nickelodeon. That was the network that got blasted. But to be honest, they're all the fucking same. They all do the same shit. So I'm sure Disney, what's the other ones? Cartoon Network? Whoever else, they was all doing the same heinous shit. But yeah, I just never was into Nickelodeon or Disney like that. Well, that's a lie. I was into Nickelodeon. I really liked SpongeBob, and that was on Nickelodeon. And Recess, what was that on? There were some bangers. So I definitely like some, some shows from these networks, but it was mainly like the cartoons. I never was into the people. So like this is always like turned me off as a child. I don't know what it was, but I've never been into the like child shows where, like the Hannah Montana and that's a lot also. I did like Drake and Josh. I did fuck with Drake and Josh. They were on Nickelodeon, but I did really like that show because it was funny. That show was genuinely funny, but I think that was the only kid show. I be making these claims and being like, actually, that was a lot. I think that was the only kid show though that I liked, where there were actual kids involved. But yeah, I don't know. Someone was just very cringy about Disney to me before cringy was even a word. I just was very put off by like, oh my god, this is terrible. I don't like it. This is corny. That's what I would call it in my head. Anyway, interesting video though. I agree with a lot of what he said. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all on the next time. Bye.